Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a full breakdown of a really fascinating guide on body language. It's called Decoding the Mechanics of Confidence, a physical guide to high-value body language. In this explainer, we are going to strictly break down the literal physical mechanics of what the source material calls alpha confidence. It's all about how you carry yourself.
Okay, let's dive into this. To make this super practical, we're structuring this body language masterclass around a chronological, everyday scenario. First, we'll look at the mechanics of walking into a room. Then, holding your ground while standing, claiming your space when sitting, and finally, the physical art of talking.
Section 1. Body language before words. The unspoken first impression. Now, before we even get to that first step, we absolutely have to understand the source's core premise here. People are evaluating your dominance and your status before you ever speak a single word. Think about this. According to the guide, your legs actually make up 40 to 50% of your total body length. Because of that massive physical proportion, how you carry your lower half plays an absolutely critical role in that unspoken first impression.
Building on this, to truly understand the guide's philosophy, we have to look at the rule of context. The source explicitly contrasts two different physical states. It argues that standing at rigid attention, with your feet close together and your hands crossed, visually signals weakness and submission to whoever you're interacting with. But on the flip side, taking up physical space with a wide, relaxed posture directly triggers a psychological perception of power. It literally makes you look like the boss of the room.
Step 1. The entry. Moving with purpose. Let's move right into the first chronological step of our scenario, entering the room. The guide states that your walking style is the absolute biggest differentiator for creating a powerful, lasting presence. Now, what's really interesting is how the source defines this specific movement. It calls it the masculine shoulder swing. Basically, it's a walking style characterized by confident, free movement of the shoulders. The guide objectively claims that signaling a wide upper body and a wide shoulder-to-hip ratio implies high testosterone, which directly translates to perceived attractiveness and dominance. It strongly contrasts this fluid, wide walking style with keeping your shoulders stiff and fixed. The source actually compares that stiff walk to a nervous, threatened animal trying to shrink itself down in the wild.
So how do we actually do this? The guide lays out a highly specific, confident walking protocol. First, you've got to keep your head high. Avoid looking down like you're hiding from the world. You want to swing your arms freely and use slow, non-reactive head movements to show you aren't easily distracted. Oh, and there's a fascinating little anecdote from the source here. If you really want to dial up the attractiveness, put just one hand in your pocket but leave the thumb sticking out. The guide calls this the James Bond move. It's a tiny tweak, but apparently it vastly enhances your perceived approachability and charm. Step 2. Holding ground. The power stances. You've successfully walked into the room, and now you're standing. In this phase, the guide introduces this concept of pulling directly from the animal kingdom. It notes that just like animals use specific stances to project size and dominance, we as humans can use power stances to hold our ground. The prime example the guide uses is the arms kimbo posture. Let's break this down exactly as instructed. Step 1. Stand straight with your hands placed precisely on your waist. Step 2. Push your elbows straight out to the sides, not forward, not backward. Step 3. Ensure your forefingers are pointing forward, with only the thumbs pointing back. Now, the source does issue a strict warning here. It considers this a highly aggressive, dominating posture. If you don't use it carefully and deliberately, you're not going to look like a boss, you'll just look nervous and unnatural. For a slightly different approach, the guide highlights the forward foot position. This is an alternative standing posture that's cited as a major favorite on celebrity red carpets. By keeping one hand in your pocket while maintaining a wide, open stance with your feet, you create a look that the source claims is highly attractive. Why? Because it flawlessly blends power with a relaxed openness. Step 3. Claiming space. Maintaining status. Moving right along, you're about to take a seat. And the source has a major caveat for us right here. It warns that all the high-status confidence you just built up by walking and standing perfectly, well, it can instantly shatter the second you sit down weakly. So to maintain that status, the guide teaches the leg over cross position. Step 1. Keep your back straight, cross your right leg over your left, and make sure your knees are comfortably aligned. Step 2 is all about claiming space by placing your elbows confidently on the chair's armrests. But I do need to impartially report an important warning from the source here. Do not use this dominating pose in close personal relationships. In an intimate setting, this intense space claiming can easily come off as arrogant rather than confident. To avoid looking arrogant, the guide offers a really solid, safer alternative, the foundational sit. Here's how it works. Keep both feet flat on the ground, separate them shoulder-width apart, and let your knees naturally point outward. Keep your back straight, and whatever you do, never hunch over or tightly close your hands and legs. According to the guide, this is the absolute most comfortable sitting position for a man, and because it's physically comfortable, it naturally exudes a foundational, relaxed, masculine confidence.
Step 4. Engagement. The final piece. You've made your entry, you've held your ground, you've claimed your seat, and now you're engaging. You are actually talking to someone in the room.
And this brilliantly illustrates one of the most astonishing claims from the source material. When it comes to strong communication and actually commanding respect, the guide states that the words you say matter the absolute least. Literally, just 7% of the impact. Voice tone accounts for 38%. But a staggering 55% of your communication is purely your body language.
Because body language completely dominates communication, the guide focuses heavily on what your hands are doing while you speak. It argues that randomly moving your hands just makes you look incredibly nervous. Instead, the greatest speakers use a highly intentional combination of 4 specific hand movements: points, sweeps, frames, and cuts.
So the crucial point is knowing exactly when to deploy each gesture. Let's walk through the source's exact rules. Use a finger point only to emphasize specific words, and never point a finger directly at a person because it looks aggressive. If you do need to gesture towards someone, use an open hand point. Sweeps are perfect for when you're talking about broad possibilities or big ideas. Frames are used to physically outline project faces or timelines with your hands. And finally, cuts are for non-negotiable boundaries, like bringing your hand down sharply when saying, "This is enough."
We've covered a lot of physical ground today. The guide's ultimate takeaway is that high-value confidence is entirely mechanical. It's all about walking slowly with that shoulder swing, keeping an open, space-claiming posture whether you're standing or sitting, and using highly controlled gestures when you finally start to speak. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought from the material. Next time you walk into a room, will you shrink into the background or will you take up the space you deserve? Thank you so much for joining me to explore this explainer today, and keep learning.